UFC 323 Merab Dvalishvili versus Peter Yan 2 is upon us. I'm going to break down this card. It's in a few hours, so I'm going to bang this out. First up, Muhammad Naimov versus Mayron Santos. I'm going with Mayron Santos. Muhammad Naimov is predominantly a grappler, but he's gotten subbed by Felipe Lima, which I don't rate that much. He beat Bogdan Grad and Con Offley by decision. So, I mean, this could be fun. Mayron Santos, decent striker from what I've seen. He KO'd Con Offley, so they share an opponent, but Mayron Santos finished him more convincingly. Mayron Santos also beat Sadiq Youssef by decision. That's something to be said. Sadiq Youssef is towards the top of, he's near the rankings, and he's not too bad. So I do kind of rate that win for Mayron Santos. I've just seen more out of Mayron Santos' fights than I have from Muhammad Naimov's. I could see Naimov winning this, but Mayron Santos has decent striking, and he's pretty explosive, and I could see him winning this more. So I'm going with Mayron Santos. I wouldn't be surprised if Naimov got it, but I'm going with Santos. Next up, Mansour Abdul Malik versus Antonio Tricoli. I'm going with Mansour Abdul Malik by finish. Antonio Tricoli has been finished by Shara Bullet. He's also been finished by Tresean Gore by sub. Those are very bad finishes, honestly. Like, people can say what they want about Shara Magomedov. He's a one-eyed dude who's predominantly a striker. If you're getting finished by him, I don't rate that at all. If you can't outstrike someone with one eye, no matter how good they are, I don't care who you are, GSP, Pantoja, DJ. If you're fighting with a singular eye, your depth perception is thrown off. Your striking should be thrown off. And even though Shara Bullet may have adapted well, I don't rate him losing to him or Tresean Gore. I don't rate Tresean Gore at all as a fighter in general. It seems like Mansour Abdul Malik is an undefeated prospect, and he's just being fed Antonio Tricoli. I've heard this compared to as Ateba Gutierrez's performance against whoever they threw against him. Just threw him to Ateba Gutierrez knowing that he was going to get the win. And I feel like this is probably going to be a similar matchup. Antonio Tricoli just lost by too bad of opponents, honestly. So I think Mansour Abdul Malik will get this done. Iwo versus Ibo Aslan. I'm going with Iwo. Ibo Aslan, one sec. Ibo Aslan has been beaten by Billy Elikana, who I don't rate. People can say that Billy Elikana is pretty good, and he might be, but what I've seen from his performances against Ibo Aslan and Bogdan Guskov, where he just quit, I don't rate Billy Elikana that much, honestly. He was also finished easily by Ion Cutelaba, which is very bad. Cutelaba has been very inconsistent his whole career, been knocked out, and finished himself. But Ibo Aslan got finished easily by arm triangle by Ion Cutelaba. I was glad to see Cutelaba get that win, but it's very bad to see Ibo get subbed by someone who's predominantly a brawler. Yeah, I'm going with Iwo. I think he's another undefeated prospect, and I'm not confident enough in Ibo Aslan after losing to Billy Elikana, honestly. Next up, Edson Barbosa versus Jalen Turner. The return of Jalen Turner, and he's being thrown Edson Barbosa. Easy matchup for him. Edson Barbosa is predominantly a striker, and he's an unk. He's very old in his career, getting towards the end of it. He's been through wars. He got beaten up badly by Lerone Murphy. And he's done well at times, but at this point in his career, being like pushing 40, and you're a striker against Jalen Turner, who's a lot longer and rangier than you, And I don't know. Jalen Turner has made some very dumb mistakes, though. He got beat by Moicano, TKO'd by him after he could have gotten the finish. Yeah, I mean, he lost to Moicano and Bahamondes, but I think this is an easy matchup for Jalen Turner. Edson Barbosa has taken a lot of damage throughout his career. He's an unk, and he might not be as crispy. Jalen Turner's a great striker, honestly. Despite what his record may show, he's very crispy on the feet, and I think that's where he's going to get Edson, by decision or maybe TKO or knockout. Alright, Marvin Vettori versus Bruno Ferreira. I am actually very skeptical of this matchup. Bruno Ferreira, very explosive striker, has knockout power, knocked out Gregory Rodriguez. Great win for him. But here's the thing. Bruno Ferreira missed weight by 3 pounds, and he's 5'10", fighting at 185. When you start to put that together, you realize how baffling that is. To not be able to make weight when you're 5'10", fighting at 185 pounds. You are super unprofessional, or you had a terrible weight cut. I don't know. I think it's going to have an effect on Bruno Ferreira's gas tank. That's why I'm picking Marvin, the Italian dream, the one and only Vettori. I mean, yeah. I think the weight cut's going to affect his cardio, and I don't think Marvin Vettori's chin will be cracked yet. Marvin Vettori has notoriously the best chin in the entire UFC history. Has not been dropped or finished his entire career. And I think he's winning this by decision. Bruno Ferreira, missing weight. He's going to gas out a little bit. Marvin Vettori, even though he's very basic in striking, he doesn't mix it up, doesn't make adjustments. I don't know if you need that against Bruno Ferreira. Something tells me that Bruno Ferreira can just win this by decision. That Marvin Vettori is just going to get tagged by huge hits, not going to be as offensively progressive as Bruno Ferreira, and he might crumble. He might lose by decision. But what I see more probable is Marvin Vettori doing what he does, eating shots like a champion. And people forget, he beat Paulo Costa after Paulo Costa missed weight by like 8-10 pounds. Marvin Vettori can take some great hits. I know Paulo Costa isn't that one-hit quitter like Bruno Ferreira, but Paulo Costa hits hard, man. He hits hard enough to make Roman Kopylov very tentative in their fight. And Marvin Vettori has had a break. I forget who his last fight was, but it's been a while. He's been out the octagon for a little bit. And I think this is going to be a good bounce back for him. I think this is a good people forgot. People forgot, man. Marvin Vettori has been at the top of this division for a reason. And it's because he has a godly chin and he has decent enough striking to get by. So that's what I think is going to happen. Maybe he even mixes it up with the wrestling. I could see this going very bad for my pick. But I just got faith in Marvin, the Italian dream, Vettori. Alright, next. Nazim Sadikov versus Fares Ziam. I think I'm going with Sadikov, honestly. Sadikov finished Nicholas Malta, finished Ishmael Bonfim, finished Terrence McKinney, who we're going to get to soon. Fares Ziam, on the other hand, he's beat Matt Favola, Mike Davis, Claudio Puelles, and he's much taller, crispier, and cleaner in striking than Nazim Sadikov. I just don't know if that tit for tat style is gonna work, man. I hate seeing that style, and I think Nazim Sadikov's gonna win this, man. Probably by finish. He's an explosive guy. He's gritty. That Nicholas Mata fight, it was back and forth a little bit until he finished him. And it was a fun fight, man. But Fressiem is really crispy, really good, but he keeps beating these guys by decision, and even though it's pretty convincing a lot of the time, I just don't know if his style is going to beat Sadikov. I think Nazim Sadikov gets this, but I'm not too confident in this one. I just see a much more impressive resume in their fights than Fressiem does. Like, Fressiem has some good names, but are they top of the division names? No, they're not at all. And neither is Nazim Sadikov's names that he has on his resume, but which have I seen look more impressive? Nazim Sadikov. I'm going with him. Going with Nazim Sadikov. Alright, Terrence McKinney versus Chris Duncan. Terrence McKinney, man. I don't know. I think Chris Duncan gets this, man. I think he might chin McKinney, man. McKinney's been chinned. He's been chinned by Bonfim with that fucking flying knee that just sends him unconscious, man. That was a brutal KO. He beat Borshev easily, but who is Borshev, man? Borshev is terrible. He did, however, finish Ribovich. Well, no, Ribovich finished him, and Drew Dober finished him. But Drew Dober is going to finish Terrence McKinney. Terrence McKinney is just way too inconsistent for me to pick him, man. He's very up and down throughout his career. As I mentioned, finished by Ribovich and Drew Dober. And I think people look at the Borishev fight and they might be recency biased, man. Like, Borishev is ass, bro. Borishev is terrible. But it's gonna be a fun fight, honestly, because Terrence McKinney's fights usually end in the first round, whether he finishes them or they finish him. But Duncan's a gritty guy, man. He just went to war with Rebecca. I don't know. I don't think McKinney has the finishing potential to get Duncan out of there. And I trust Duncan's ability to win this through decision or finish much more than I do trusting McKinney to get that. Chris Duncan already also subbed Jordan Vucenic. He has been subbed by Manuel Torres, though, so it could be there for McKinney. McKinney's gotten subs throughout his career, but I just think Chris Duncan got this, man. Chris Duncan is pretty good, and I think he gets this one out of here. Next up, Grant Dawson versus Manuel Torres. I don't know who I'm going to pick for this, man. Grant Dawson, he's looking pretty good throughout his fights, man. He's taking these guys down. He's an explosive guy on the feet. What he makes up for with his lack of technique on the feet, he gets right to his grappling, man. He presses his grappling in his fights, and I don't know, man. Like, Grant Dawson has been chinned by Bobby Green, which is not good at all. Especially going into this fight when you say you've been chinned by Bobby Green. I don't know. But I think that might have been the right time for Bobby Green. Like, he found the right moment. I don't know if Manuel Torres will get that same that same opportunity, man. I don't know. I was going to pick Manuel Torres because I just could see the moment on a feet where he can chin Grant Dawson. Nah, screw it. I'm going with Grant Dawson by decision or sub. Manuel Torres, hard hitter, but I think Grant Dawson's going to show levels. And literally in the fight, he's going to level change. He's going to get to Manuel Torres' hips. He's going to take him down. Maybe sub him. But I'm going with Grant Dawson. To the main card, Jan Blachowicz versus Bogdan Guskov. This is tough. But I'm going with Bogdan the Hitman Guskov. Nice outfit, by the way, at the press conference. Jan Blachowicz is very good. Very, very good. Well, actually, hold on. Oh my god, wait. Oh my god. Oh my god, this is tough, honestly, because Jan has a great chin. A fantastic chin. He's taken hits off of Ankalaev, off of Pereira, Yuri. Oh, dude, I don't know, man. Jan Blachowicz is very, very good. Wait. Oh, no, he didn't fight Yuri. Oh, Yuri fought Glover. That's my bad. But, dude, Jan is so underrated. Like, I just watched his fight against Israel Adesanya the other day. Jan is very good on the feet, man. Very crispy on the feet. We know about his leg kicks. He's down to go shin to shin with you. I might actually go with Jan Blachowicz. Because Bogdan has that hands down style, and he's right in front of your face, man. Right in front of your face. Jan Blachowicz is no slouch within the exchanges on the feet. And I think Jan gets this, man, by finish. I like Bogdan Guskov and I want him to do well, but I just can't get the thought outside of my head, the fact that he puts his hands down at his side so much. And Jan has that Polish power, bro. He has that power that can put you out. I don't know. I'm kind of torn. If I had to pick, I'm going with Jan Blachowicz. Gritty fighter. He can last the entire fight. Even though he's slowing down, I don't know, man. This is definitely a fight that I'm not convinced on a certain outcome. But I'm going to go with Jan Blachowicz. I feel like Bogdan's going to get an exchange with him close up. He's going to have his hands down at one point. He's going to get caught by Jan and get his chin span off. That's it. Next up, one of the most undeserved fights I have seen in a minute. Henry Cejudo versus Peyton Talbot. Peyton Talbot just lost to Raoni Barcelos. He didn't just lose to him, but you're not going to act like I did not see that like a year or so ago. I saw someone who was like near Henry's age or maybe older, and someone that's never been at the championship level. I saw him take down Peyton Talbot, get gritty on the feet with him, and just dominate him. That was a true fraud-checking moment for Peyton Talbot, and now he's going against Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo has a very big height disadvantage. Peyton Talbot's like 4 inches taller than him or something. I cannot in good faith say that Peyton Talbot, the man who lost to Johnny Barcelos, coming off of a win of Felipe Lima, I cannot in good faith say that he's going to win this against Henry Cejudo, Triple C, a 2-division champ, who his last fight, he did good against Song Yadong. I wanted Song Yadong to win that fight, and Henry did well. And even though Song has those short arms, and that's a factor, Peyton Talbot could have the style to chin Henry Cejudo, honestly. But it's very hard to chin Henry Cejudo. That is very tough to do. Henry Cejudo has a great chin, a fantastic chin, big head, Mexican American. Henry Cejudo is going to get this done, man. I cannot believe I'm seeing these odds as well. Like, what are these odds? Downright disrespectful. Henry Cejudo winning this. Why is Peyton Talbot even in this position, bro? It's disgusting. Johnny Barcelos is getting thrown like still unranked opponents like Ricky Simone and shit. Peyton Talbot's getting Henry Cejudo. I get it, you want the fan base, but damn. Alright, next up. Oh, the UFC is going to hate this one. They want both of these fan bases, and one of them is going to be disappointed. Brandon Moreno versus Tatsuro Taira. I'm going to go with Brandon Moreno. Taira's very good, man. He's very good. He's quick to get to the back. And he's no slouch on the feet, bro. Before he subbed the Korean guy, Sung Hyuk Kyo, or something like that, before he subbed him, he hit him with some quick shit and then got right to it. But Brandon Moreno is a very different beast, man. Very different. Brandon Moreno is a championship caliber fighter. He has this Mexican crafty style of boxing. He's very shifty in his fights. Very explosive. He has a good jab. And I think that's going to pay dividends for him in this fight. I think he's going to prod at Taira. I think he's going to be faster than Taira. And I think the grappling exchanges that Taira gets Moreno in, I don't see him getting enough damage off to win a decision off of that, or him subbing Moreno at all. Moreno beat Kai Kara France, beat Davison Figueiredo. Moreno is so good as a fighter, honestly. And I think he wins this by outstriking and by not being finished with the sub. And if you're not getting subbed by Tatsuro Taira, if you're someone like Brandon Moreno that can piece him up on the feet, do well on the ground. Brandon Moreno is no slouch, man, on the ground. Great jiu-jitsu, great scrambles. Great chin. I think Taira's losing this. But I like him as a fighter. I want him to do well. I just think this is too much for him. Brandon Moreno is fantastic. To the co-main event, Alejandro Pantoja versus Joshua Van. Let me preface by saying I want Joshua Van to win this 100%. I would love that to be the outcome. And I hope when I see that fight, I hope I get to see Alejandro Pantoja's chin get span off by Joshua Van, because Joshua Van's a great fighter, entertaining as hell, man. But the narrative is there, man. He hasn't been training MMA that long, and I don't think he's experienced enough on the ground to stop a sub from Pantoja. I feel like we're going to see like an armbar or something from Pantoja, something that Joshua Van is not drilling much. He said that he's not even preparing for like ground game or like tethering to Pantoja style. I don't know if I believe that. But Pantoja is very powerful, explosive, and he's down to trade on the feet, which is where Joshua Van can get this done. But knowing how Joshua Van is, I feel like Pantoja's not going to mess around with this. He's not going to mess around at all, and he's going to get to the ground quick. And I think he's going to get a sub quick. But hopefully Van wins this, so we can get some more entertainment in the flyweight division. Not that Pantoja's all that boring, but I don't know, man. I would like to see Joshua Van as champion. Yeah. Pantoja just has so much more grappling experience, and we've seen it time and time again. With this big of a gap in grappling experience, I find it hard for Joshua Van to win this. Unfortunately so. So I'm going with Pantoja by sub, but if I see Joshua Van gain the flyweight title, be the second youngest fighter in UFC history, be the youngest fighter in UFC history to get a title, clean youngest fighter. I know John Jones got it at whatever age he was, but he was on the sauce, man. He was on the sauce. His whole record's a fraud. His whole legacy's a fraud. Joshua Van would be the youngest clean fighter to get a championship. Would love to see that. But I feel like it might be too soon for Pantoja, man. Great fight with Royvaldo. Great fight. Next up, to the main event, Merab Dvalishvili versus Peter Yan. I'm going with going with Merab Dvalishvili. Yan said that his right hand was injured in the fight that they had, their first fight. And I watched the fight before he said that, and I watched a little bit after he said that. And I could see it. I could see him not throwing his right hand much at all. And that could definitely play a role into how the fight went. But Merab has been getting better at the stand-up. We saw him drop Corey Sandhagen. Saw him drop Umar. I think he dropped Umar. Might be confusing that with the Mario Batista fight. But Merab has been getting better at striking, honestly. I just don't see enough of a convincing factor that Peter Yan has to say that Merab's not going to do what he's always done. He's going to cardio mog Yan. He's going to take these big shots. He has a great chin. Like, say what you want about his early career when he got slept, but guy dove headfirst into a lake, a frozen lake. Ate that shit. Now, Yan has amazing trips, great judo, was able to get on his feet plenty of times throughout their first fight. I'm scared for Merab for these reasons, man. Yan not being... Well, I don't know if he's not injured. He wouldn't answer the question about that Merab asked him if he was injured going into this fight. But Yan, clean, slick boxing with good power, amazing judo, amazing takedown defense. But from what I've seen, his fight against Marcus McGee, which he took to a decision, if you're taking Marcus McGee to a decision, man, Merab's gonna decision the fuck out of you. That's my logic, honestly. But Merab might be closer to becoming the GOAT after this fight. It's going to be a very tough fight for both. Peter Yan is so good, and I'm scared for Merab. But I think he gets this done. Merab's going to slap his big Georgian balls on Yan, and he's going to invite him into the jacuzzi. So yeah, that's UFC 323's predictions. Merab's going to beat Jan. Hopefully Joshua Van cleans Pantoja's chin off his shoulders. And that's it.